So today's video is day number 4 of Valentine's week. If you are new to my channel, every single day this week up until Sunday, I am going to be uploading a new true crime video that relates to Valentine's Day. And the reason I said it like that is because this one is kind of a little bit different. It does have true crime elements in it. This is kind of more like a conspiracy theory, but it's got a murder in it, so, you know. So today we're going to be talking about the case of Delia Day. So quickly, before I get into this video, I just want to give my usual disclaimer that I mean absolutely no disrespect to anyone that I talk about in this video. This video is for educational purposes, and everything that I'm about to say is just information that I have found on the internet and I'm compiling into one video. So Delia Day is actually not this person's real name. It's actually an alias used by a woman named Susan Anton when she was online. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to be calling her Delia Day all the way through, but that's not her real name. Delia was married for 10 years to a man named Travis who worked as a computer programmer. They had 2 children together over this 10 years, and they actually sent them off to boarding school for most of the week because the lifestyle that Travis and Delia decided to live was not the most child-friendly. Delia Day was a photographer and artist by day, and then by night she ran her own BDSM sex blog. This blog was named My Illustrated Life as a Sex Slave, and I'll try to include as many pictures as I possibly can, but as you can imagine, not much of it is safe for YouTube. So all of the information for this case I've just got from like forums and pictures and things, so this might not be 100% accurate, but it's as accurate as I'll be able to make it without the actual website to go off of. So on your first visit to this blog, you get hit with a one-time disclaimer. Once you accept this disclaimer, it never comes up again. It basically states that this isn't a porn site, this is a blog, it's just a bunch of pictures and articles about how she genuinely lives her life. She doesn't do any of this for anyone else's pleasure. This is her life, her kind of diary. Delia refers to herself in this disclaimer as an owned sex slave who was owned by her husband, who she only ever really called her master on this blog. The 2 of them would just kind of live this S&M lifestyle and take pictures as they go and then upload these photographs to the blog. And Delia herself would write articles to go alongside these pictures, kind of like explaining what they did that day or answering questions or whatever. And these pictures and articles were not for the faint of heart. This was very, very hardcore BDSM stuff. There was everything ranging from kind of more light things, just kind of pictures of Delia doing various things, pictures of her tattoos, her piercings, body modifications, branding, cuts, all the way to proper like hardcore bondage. The website even run a kind of subscription service where you could pay something over $8 a month and you would just get access to more Delia Day content, more photos, more articles, more diary entries, whatever. Overall, this blog, My Illustrated Life as a Sex Slave, was very kind of famous among the BDSM community. It was very highly respected. And then alongside the blog, Delia Day also ran like a live journal vlog where she would just kind of talk a little bit more informally, a little bit more personally, still about the same topics, all this BDSM stuff, but it was just a little bit less polished. It was more like she was talking rather than writing an article. And this blog operated for years, and it really seemed as though Delia and Travis just really liked their lifestyle. They just wanted to share it with people wanted to see it, and like everything was great. But then of course things took a turn. Delia Day posted her last ever live journal entry on December 1st 2003 titled Locked Up Tight. In this entry she talks about how she'd been at home and Travis came home from work one day, didn't say much to her, went to the bedroom, got a padlock, came out and then put it on one of her labia piercings. I'm kind of thinking at this point maybe I should have given a disclaimer for children not to watch this, but you shouldn't be watching true crime videos anyway, so. She talked about how Travis had 4 different padlocks for all 4 of her labia piercings, and she thought that he was gonna like put all 4 on her, although one was uncomfortable enough. She said it was really painful, it was really heavy, it made walking nearly impossible, it would pinch her if she moved in certain ways. But you know, this was the kind of stuff that they would do every day, and they both seemed to like it, so you know, whatever. And to be fair, this was a very normal thing that you would see on Delia Day's live journal. It was a more personal take on everything that was going on rather than these like polished photos and articles. She was talking about the real things, like it was hurting her, it was uncomfortable, but you know, it was a thing that they did and she enjoyed it, supposedly. But just hours after posting this live journal entry, Delia Day called the police and confessed to the murder of her own husband Travis. In the middle of the night at 2 a.m, she had shot her husband Travis right in the chest, killing him immediately. And so Delia Day, Susan Anton, was arrested. While she was in police custody, the blog My Illustrated Life as a Sex Slave was taken offline and she was asked where she'd got this gun. She said that it was Travis's own gun that he'd bought secondhand and he'd kind of taught her how to use it so that in case anyone tried to break in while he wasn't there, she'd be able to defend herself and their house. So the whole kind of trial and the court proceedings on this murder case are not overly public, like there's not much information on it online because it's not actually categorised as a murder case. It was actually ruled by the court as self-defence on Delia's part due to her S&M lifestyle, and all of the charges were dropped. And after all of this happened, Delia Day attempted to take back some of her private life. And this was someone that had been somewhat of an internet celebrity over the past like 10 years. She moved back to her hometown, she got more of a kind of conventional job, and she never really went online again. She never gave her fans any explanation as to why that had happened, what had happened, where she was going. She just disappeared online. Relating it to a more kind of modern situation, it's like watching a family vlogging channel and they upload a video and then within a couple of hours the wife shoots the husband, the channel is deleted and no one talks about it ever again. You'd just be left with so many questions like, what happened? What went on to make that happen? Like, how long had this thing been going on? Was this boiling up for a long time? And Delia and Travis's audience had all the same questions, but no one was around to give any answers. And so with that, the audience naturally began to speculate and come up with theories like that they think might have happened. Theory number one was that maybe this was an accident, like a Russian roulette type thing. BDSM is all about like the thrill, the adrenaline rush, the like excitement of it. So it's not out of the realm of possibility to think that maybe they enjoyed playing Russian roulette. If for some reason you don't know what Russian roulette is, it's basically where you load a gun with one bullet in one chamber, and I don't quite understand the game because I don't have a gun, you know, I don't play it. But there's basically like a 1 in however many chance that this bullet is gonna fire, and so you shoot it with a 1 in whatever chance that you might die. It's a very, very dangerous game. Don't play it. And so it's not out of the realm of possibility that that might be something that they enjoyed. It's a very kind of exciting, on the edge game. It's not exciting. I'm not. Theory number two was that maybe this really was self-defense. Maybe this was an abusive relationship behind the scenes. Maybe they had a fight and Delia needed to protect herself. Or maybe this whole thing, this whole BDSM lifestyle, this consensual BDSM lifestyle that these two people chose to live, maybe that wasn't consensual after all. Maybe Delia truly was a slave, unwillingly subjected to all of these horrible torture methods that they'd been posting on the blog all this time. Because they had been doing this for years and everyone just kind of assumed that it was consensual because why else would you let people take pictures and everything? But maybe this was an abusive relationship. Maybe she was forced into doing all of that. And maybe she just snapped one day and shot her abuser. And theory number three is that maybe this was just straight up murder and Delia was using self-defense as a way to get away with murder. Anyway, after this incident, after the murder, after the court proceedings, Delia Day completely just ghosted the internet for 2 whole years until 2005. A blogger who had been writing various posts about this case, trying to investigate it, trying to investigate what happened, received an email claiming to be from Delia Day. In this email, Delia talks about finally wanting to tell the truth, tell the real story behind what happened. And in this email, it states that every single post that was ever written on My Illustrated Life as a Sex Slave and on Delia's side blog were never actually written by Delia at all. They were all written by Travis, pretending to be Delia for years. But the thing is, there is absolutely no way to verify whether this email was genuine or whether it was a hoax. As soon as this person sent this email to the blogger obviously tried to follow up on it, ask a bunch of questions, send a bunch of emails back, but they never received another email. So we can't be sure whether it was Delia trying to tell the truth and then maybe she got scared, or maybe like legal things got in the way so she couldn't carry on talking to them, or it could just be someone trying to mess with the community, trying to just pull this hoax. But if it is true, then that perfectly aligns up with the fan theory that maybe this BDSM lifestyle was never a lifestyle, that it wasn't consensual and that it was abuse. So like I said, after that one single email, Delia Day ghosted the internet once again for another 8 years this time, until 2013. And this time she came back via a WordPress blog named Invisible Survivor. And this time it can be confirmed that this is Delia Day, because in the first post of her new blog she attached a new photo, like a recent photo of her. And one thing that Delia Day was famous for was her collar tattoo that Travis got her for their 10-year anniversary, which is all the more dark if you put it alongside the theory that maybe this wasn't consensual and she was made to get a tattoo like that, a constant reminder every time she looks in the mirror. To prove that this is Delia, people have reverse image searched this picture that she attached with her first post, and it is found nowhere else on the internet. So it's not like someone's found it and then posted it pretending to be Delia. People are convinced that this is Delia. And one of the first posts that Delia writes as part of her new blog is titled "When Consensual is Not an Option." And in this post she states that Travis really was abusing her. She really was his slave. This was not a BDSM lifestyle. He was using that as an excuse. He was actually just torturing her. She said that she had no say in whether or not she wanted this lifestyle. She had no option to leave this lifestyle. There were no safe words for her to use, so if things were getting too much for her, there wasn't any kind of consensual element to this. She just had to put up with it. She wasn't being treated as a human being. She also states that she never once had a hand in any of the blogs. The blogs that made her famous, the blogs that she was the star of, she never once posted anything on there. It was all Travis. He took the photos, he edited the photos, he posted them, he wrote the articles, he answered people's questions as Delia. He even wrote the more kind of personal blog posts on her live journal. Those blog posts that were supposed to be of her personal experience, like the more intimate parts of it, he was making it all up and pretending to be Delia Day. Meanwhile, he was abusing his wife, Susan Anton. And people have found some evidence to say that these are definitely two different people writing two different blogs. It was Travis the whole time on the old Delia Day writings, and it's definitely Susan now in this new blog. So I'm sure we can all agree that different people have different writing styles. You can tell that just by like scrolling through Twitter. People type differently, people punctuate differently, whatever. For example, one of the examples from the new Invisible Survivor blog that Susan Anton wrote, every mention of a number is always numerical, so 10 is 10. Whereas in the old Delia Day writings, every mention of a number is always spelt alphabetically, so 10 is TEN. People have also pointed out that in the new verified Susan Anton blog, she always uses emojis and like emoticons and stuff. Whereas in the old Delia Day writings, not in the articles and not in the blog post does she ever use an emoji of any kind. In the new blog, Susan always spells the word defence with an S, whereas in the old Delia Day writings, defence was always spelt with a C. And when sarcastically quoting a word, Susan Anton would use double quotes, whereas Delia Day would use single quotes. And some people think that this is enough proof to say that these were two different people completely writing these two different blogs. That Susan was never writing as Delia Day, that it was always Travis, and then that in turn confirms her story that maybe she killed him in self-defense because this was abuse, this wasn't a consensual lifestyle. But other people are more skeptical still, saying that maybe she is just using this all to get away with murder. Maybe she just wanted to murder her husband, maybe she did it by accident or something, and to get away with murder or manslaughter, she said that it was in self-defense. After all, writing styles do change over time, and some people think that maybe she is intentionally implementing these differences in her writing now so that there is a difference between the two things, so that it is evidence that there were two different people writing, when maybe the whole time it was Susan Anton and she's just now trying to get away with murder by saying it's self-defense. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think she really is trying to get away with murder, or do you think she's being sincere and this really was an abusive relationship that she had to kill her husband to get out of? But yeah, let me know what you think down below. I quickly want to give a little bit of a disclaimer as well, because I know people might shout at me if I don't put this in. Not all BDSM relationships are like this. This is a one-off case of an abusive person using the BDSM lifestyle as an excuse. It wasn't a BDSM lifestyle, he was using that as an excuse. BDSM is only BDSM if it is consensual between two people. If it is not 100% consensual between two people, it's no longer BDSM, and that is abuse. If you feel like you are being taken advantage of in a BDSM relationship, if you are not 100% consensual to everything going on in that relationship, that is abuse. And please, reach out to someone, tell someone what is going on, because you shouldn't have to live through that. Don't feel like you have to say yes to everything even if you're not comfortable with it. This case is not representative of the BDSM community or the BDSM lifestyle at all. If what Susan Anton is saying is true, then this is a one-off case of a sick man that used that as an excuse, which it should never be. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a big thumbs up and comment down below what you think about this case. Did you enjoy it? Because I really enjoyed kind of researching this one. It's something a little bit different on my channel. So let me know if you want to see some more stuff like this, like internet stories, you know what I mean? Subscribe down below if you want to see some more from me. Like I said, every day this week I am going to be uploading a new true crime video that relates to Valentine's Day. It's Valentine's week. A huge thank you to all of my channel members. All of their names are on screen right now. If you want to become a channel member, you can just click the link in the description, or if you're on a desktop, you can click the join button under the video. If you become a channel member, you'll get your name on this end card, and you'll also have access to a members only community tab where I will ask for case suggestions, do polls to see what cases come next, and you can just have a lot more say in what you see on the channel. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!